pen just so little. Are you going to take that to you with South Korea? Can I have it? I'm going to put it in a very special place.
Is it made in Korea?
And so when he wrote the guest book,
Right.
they specifically designed and created this pen.
It took a few months, I heard.
It took 2 months, I think they were saying. And he brought that with him and he signed it. And, Trump saw this and he was like, I'd like to have this. And he robbed it.
Is it your pen?
Took his pen, yo. It was like in school again. When a bully comes in, he was like, you got a nice pen.
I like it. I like your shirt.
You gonna take this?
Take it off.
whoa, Seong. That's not what a bully should be doing here.
Speaking of CSIS, one line in particular caught my attention and global attention as well. He mentioned K culture, and he said Korea's world-renowned culture power, or K culture, is actually K democracy. That's the ultimate result of K culture, and he credited its people for making it all possible. And I think that was one of the highlights of the CSIS address.
And of course, at the center of K culture, the Culture
Inc.
Before President Lee met with Trump.
But he mentioned the Cape of Demon Hunters, by the way.
I was hoping he was going to mention Arirang, because he just recently came back, came to Arirang, talk about Arirang maybe a little bit, the Culture Inc. Before President Lee met with Trump, he actually made his first overseas trip as president, as he met with the Prime Minister of Japan. That was the scheduling, though, seemed a little bit unusual because it was like back to back to back, right?
Right. Traditionally, a Korean president would prioritize the U.S. for their first summit, but Lee chose Japan, and later he explained why. And like mentioned earlier, one reason was to ease Washington's concerns about Korea-Japan ties. And I believe along with that, there may be deeper, more strategic calculations behind that choice as well.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting is when President Lee Jae-myung was elected, one of the things that they were saying is that relations with Japan was going to go bad. But he's actually going reverse right now. Well, let's continue to do this, the trilateral alliance, right? I mean, we could work together on this. But how did the talks with Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba go, though?
Well, by most accounts, the meeting was successful, and some people in Korea were disappointed that President Lee didn't press Japan more strongly on historical issues, but others interpret such approach as part of a bigger diplomatic strategy. Essentially, by giving Ishiba some political breathing room, now Lee may have created leverage to raise historical issues more effectively later on. And in fact, Ishiba's approval ratings, which had been very low, rose sharply after the summit. Typically when a progressive government takes power in South Korea, relations with Japan tend to become strained, but it wasn't the case this time. So you can say Ishiba owes President Lee a kind of political debt this time. And beyond history, they talked about very practical issues. Both countries faced the challenge of Trump's tariffs, so there's a shared motivation to work together economically. And they also agreed to cooperate on social challenges like low birth rates, aging society, rural decline, and the difficulties young people face in both societies. Very pragmatic, I can say.
I wonder, though, and this is also probably going to vary depending on whether it was a conservative daily or a progressive daily over in Japan, but how was the summit received in Japan?
Well, leading Japanese dailies, including the Yomiuri Shimbun and Nikkei, featured the Korea-Japan summit on their front pages, reporting that the two leaders stressed the importance of stable development in bilateral relations. And I happened to be traveling in Japan during that time. And when I turned on the TV at my hotel, I saw many channels reporting on the summit. And even at the newsstands, newspapers were filled with front page stories about the meeting.
I mean, it's close neighbors, right? Anytime there's summit, it's going to be a big deal. So taken together, Japan first and then the U.S. Sounds like President Lee was sending a carefully crafted diplomatic message, right?
Yeah, so the sequence itself demonstrated strategy securing diplomatic ties with Japan first, then step into the Korea-U.S. summit with stronger footing. And Lee administration shows diplomacy isn't just about what the leaders discuss inside the meeting room, but also the order, timing, and symbolism of where the leader choose to go.
Yeah, the only thing now is, now with the talks that happen with Trump and so forth, still the trade officials need to do a little bit more. I know that they went down to a 15% for South Korea, but South Korea, 15% is too high. It's just too high, right? And so I think they have little things to work on here. I know they're going to make, shipbuilding great again and stuff like that. And we'll see what happens. Bring it down to 5% maybe will be nice. It'll be very good, which is why I'm going to take a listen to a song here from Block B with Very Good. And the last track you heard was Block B with Very Good, as in
very good.
And also a word that he uses a lot, very good.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful, fantastic. Very good meeting. But also, just the results were very good too. Second story we're going to be talking about, yellow envelope bill. When you hear yellow envelope, it almost seems like, did you get a love letter? No. There is a cultural significance with yellow envelope here in Korea. And in fact, I think something that maybe we talked about in our show not too long ago, the so-called yellow envelope bill, which the National Assembly passed on Sunday, was highly contentious. Something not the first time they've dealt with in the past, right? It was a little bit different back then,
right?
With, of course, the ruling power then being the People Power Party. Now it's flipped around. A lot of heat being exchanged with this. It's not just the political parties that are upset. There are other people that are upset with this too. Others are very happy. You're always going to get two sides of things. Walk us through what exactly changed with this yellow envelope bill.
Sure. On August 24th, lawmakers approved amendments to Korea's Trade Union and Labor Relations Adjustment Act, what's dubbed the Yellow Envelope Bill. In short, it expands who counts as an employer, widens what disputes can be legally considered a labor dispute, and limits the scope of damage claims against unions and workers for strike-related losses. And those are the three pillars.
Yeah, basically the big thing is like the employers, right? The management isn't going to like the yellow envelope bill. Unions, labor unions are going to be big fans. Big fans of the passage of this. So let's unpack those pillars one by one.
Yeah, sure. First, until now, subcontracted or dispatched workers often had to bargain only with their direct employer, even if a big client company actually controlled the key conditions. And the new rules make it clearer that a client firm can be treated as an employer when it substantively and specifically controls working conditions. So unions for subcontracted workers can make demands directly to the client firm. And second, the act explicitly includes management decisions that affect working conditions and certain collective agreement violations within the legal scope of labor disputes, broadening when strike and bargaining are recognized as legitimate. And third is about damage claims. In past high-profile cases, companies sought massive civil damages after strikes. The act rationalizes or limits those claims, not blanket immunity, but a standard that narrows who pays and how much based on contribution to damage. And now to talk about when this actually takes effect and how the details will be ironed out, there's a 6-month grace period. And during that time, the Ministry of Employment and Labor says it will set up a TF that regularly brings labor and businesses to the table, gather underground feedback, and published guidelines and manuals on employer criteria, bargaining procedures, and the scope of disputes.
So again, I mentioned how there is some cultural and historical significance of why it's called a yellow envelope bill. For our listeners out there, can you explain that part?
Yeah, there's actually a story. Back in 2014, after a court ordered 47 billion won in damages against Sangyong motor union workers for a 77-day strike, a citizen movement sprang up, and people mailed yellow envelopes, each with 47,000 won, symbolically sharing the burden, saying, if 100,000 of us each send 47,000 won, we can cover 4.7 billion, 1/10 of the damage. And then that solidarity campaign became the law's nickname and helped keep the issue alive for a decade.
So
more than a decade.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the strikes, right? It's basically they're fighting for what's unjust.
Right.
But if the employers or the management are basically going, well, if you're going to be striking for, let's say, 10 days, you're not going to be getting paid for the 10 days. But that's also, if you do that, then it gives them, you're basically saying you can't strike.
Right.
And we have labor laws here which allow you to strike under certain circumstances, right? Under certain circumstances. And you're basically threatening them not to strike is what it is. And so this is the big portion of the yellow envelope bill. Now, heart of it is helping the workers, okay, especially those in complicated subcontracting chains. We have Crash Override who says, I wish we had that law here. It got shafted by an employer, quote unquote, who had me as a contractor while requiring me to do all the same work of a full employee. So it does, again, go to helping the employee. But how are two sides reacting to this?
Of course, as you can predict, the labor movement calls it a historic win, saying it addresses power imbalances in multi-layered supply chains and reins in crippling damage suits that can chill the right to strike. On the business side, groups warned it could increase industrial action and hurt investment competitiveness. A recent national business survey found 76% fear it could intensify labor management tensions. So in short, praise from labor and strong pushback from employers, of course.
Yeah, let's add some cultural context to all of this. For listeners, again, we have many of our listeners from outside of Korea. Talking about what the yellow envelopes symbolize socially as well.
Well, I can mention two things here. First, it taps into Korea's civic crowdfunding culture, ordinary people chipping in small amounts for a shared cause, as we saw from the gold collection movement during 1997 Asian financial crisis. And second, the envelope itself evokes the old school cash pay packet. Of course, we don't receive our payment in an envelope anymore, but it's a reminder that wages and livelihoods are at stake, not just legal theory. It became a shorthand for solidarity, many small contributions standing up to giant liabilities. And that symbolism helped sustain public attention until the law finally passed. It took 10 years.
I mean, we talked about the IMF crisis and how everybody donated gold.
Right. Even like 돌반지.
That's why it was rare. That's why it was rare after a certain year. If you know, all the, what is it, the first birthday rings, right? That it didn't exist because everyone donated it.
Right.
But I do remember also my dad coming home with the yellow envelope. Back in the back in the days.
Your dad donated gold.
No. We weren't in
the
Korea.
States.
Yeah, we were in the States back then. But I remember when we were in Korea, every month when it was payday, he came in with the yellow envelope, and it wasn't a lot of money.
Chicken.
No chicken. No, we had something else. We had the 갈매기살.
Oh, wow. You were rich.
He got paid 200,000 won per month working in a factory.
Oh, boy.
Which is equivalent to maybe $1 million won a month. So that was
still,
struggle was real.
He wanted to treat you with good food.
We're going to continue to talk about other major issues happening here in Korea. But first, let's take a listen to a song here from IU with Love Poem. That was IU with Love Poem. Did you ever get a love poem? Your husband gave you a love poem, right?
He used to.
That's
not
it.
Anymore.
No, that's what's important. He gave you once.
Once? Not once, but not anymore. That's the point.
Do you give him? By the way, he's a very
I Kakao talk him.
Poems, love poems.
Poems.
You said love poems via Kakao?
No.
No, I met her husband. He's a romantic guy, real nice guy, nice guy.
He wants to be a romantic person. I
thought
think
he was a real romantic guy.
Yeah,
my wife, after you guys left, my wife was like,
compared to you,
Yes,
he's
yes.
off. Yeah, he's off compared to you.
My wife was like, learn a thing or two. Learn a thing or two. I said, man, I have nothing to say there. I got no comeback for that. Our final
Inside,
topic.
you're a good guy.
I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. Final topic today. There's been some growing concerns about how excessive reliance on AI is, especially in its flattery compliance, sometimes encouraging negative behaviors.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know. It's actually affecting mental health. And this is particularly visible among teens,
Right.
who are the most vulnerable group. Seong, this is based on an article that came out. Let's talk about this.
Oh, as a mom, I'm very concerned. And a recent article in the Washington Post describes the troubling rise of what's being called AI psychosis. And then several Korean news outlets outlets also published similar articles. And while not a clinical term, it refers to cases where people, often vulnerable individuals, develop delusional beliefs, paranoia, or emotional attachment to AI chatbots after prolonged interaction. And psychiatric reports include extreme cases like self-harm or even suicide attempts linked to obsessive chatbot use. And it's a global issue and concern, and South Korea is not an exception, as growing number of people are suffering this kind of symptoms. And it's not like AI is creating new illnesses, but it can trigger serious episode. And experts caution that AI isn't causing new disorders, but maybe according to the expert's description, snowflake that triggers the avalanche and people already predisposed. And now the persuasive human being-like design of AI chatbots being overly agreeable or validating can reinforce harmful beliefs. And recently I saw news and found out that there have been cases where spouses demanded a divorce because their partners seem to have fallen in love with ChatGPT.
What?
Like what started as simple like psychological, or that a lot of people ask for help to ChatGPT these days, and it was like a psychological personal counseling, but it escalated because the AI responds like a real person, like offers comfort, takes sides, and sometimes even encourages divorce as a solution. And seeing these conversations, the other spouses felt a tremendous sense of betrayal, and I know it sounds like a sci-fi or a comic book scenario.
No, it really does sound very sci-fi.
Future, but it's reality. It's
like think
really
of it this way, right? Think of it this way. This is not really happening, but my wife, let's say my wife, goes on ChatGPT and goes, "My husband's not writing any more love poems, or he never wrote love poems, right?" And then
I don't even know why I fell in love with him in the first place.
And then ChatGPT goes, "Oh, don't worry, here's a love poem for you," and then writes up some AI generated love poem.
Can you write me again?
And then like it comes out, and then then ChatGPT goes, "I bet your husband can't write like this." I'm telling you right now, guys, I'm telling you right now, if I'm married to someone who falls in love with ChatGPT or gets some sort of emotional, I don't know, emotional cheating with ChatGPT. I don't know. I'm going to have to start thinking about maybe finding a divorce lawyer because that's just weird.
That's actually happening.
That's so weird.
That's actually happening. Yeah.
That is so weird. Come on, guys.
This is the world we are living right now.
But what about the effect on youth more generally, though?
Well, several studies dive into that. One from Korea's Adolescent Health Survey found that excessive internet smartphone use, which includes AI usage, correlates with poorer subjective health, increased stress, feelings of sadness, and suicidal thoughts. And another Korean study in university students linked smartphone addiction, especially short-form video addiction, to higher levels of stress, anxiety, depression, and poor sleep quality. Are you a fan of short-form videos?
For some reason, I'm never on YouTube, actually.
Oh, and on top of that, a global systematic review focused that over-reliance on AI dialogue systems, especially when teenagers stop questioning results or accept hallucinations, can impair critical thinking, decision-making, when teenagers should be exploring diverse ideas, thinking creatively, and developing their minds.
So recently, we had banned Aaron, our son, from watching any YouTube.
Oh.
So we made the mistake.
Even kids' channel?
Even the kids' channel. Even the kids' channel. We made the mistake of earlier on getting him to watch, videos because we wanted to, let's say we wanted to eat. And the only way to distract him was through that. Right. And so, he earlier on, he caught up watching all this stuff, and he's into Minecraft now, and he's like watching Minecraft, and it got too much to the point where he was always saying he's bored. And remember, I just told you before that I took him to the water park, and I was like, "Aaron, are you having fun?" He was like, "No," because he's getting so much excitement from all the visual stuff that everything else seems bored. And so I was like, and then my wife was like, "Oh, this is a problem." And so it's been 2 weeks now.
So unless it reaches the certain level of excitement, they don't think it's exciting.
Yeah. So he wasn't laughing as much as he used to and things like that because everything funny was on YouTube. And so he's been off of YouTube for 2 weeks now, but he's good, right? Like when we tell him not to watch it, he doesn't watch it. But and I do give him time
He
to play.
listens to you
Yeah,
at least.
no, he does, and
He's a
then
good boy.
But I also let him play like Minecraft and stuff, like 1 hour a day, which is I'm not gonna cut him off completely, but it is
Right.
It's scary. It's scary because there's so many things out there.
It makes the children stop thinking. That's
No,
the
it really
problem.
does. So we have both specific AI-driven effects and broader screen dependency issues that are combining.
Yes, and the motivations matter. A study among adolescents found that mental health issues like anxiety and depression predicted later AI dependence mediated by escape and social motivations, but not via entertainment or instrumental use. So teens turning to AI for emotional escape may become dependent, which can worsen their state and even feed back into delusions or detachment from reality or real people, including their parents. So here I brought some recommendations from doctors. First, they say public and parental education is vital. Users should treat AI like a tool, not a friend or authority. Second, safety mechanisms like usage reminders, crisis resources that some AI providers are introducing are helpful, but not sufficient. And finally, mental health professionals and educators need guidance on recognizing AI-induced vulnerabilities, especially among adolescents. And I believe now schools also need to provide relevant classes or lectures for their students.
Yeah. Chris Rose over in Leeds says iPad kids will be a generation of low concentration and needing constant dopamine hits over even minor things.
Yes.
It's true.
Dopamine rush.
That's what
the
it is.
word.
Dopamine. Yeah.
Yes.
And so now he's banned. He's not allowed to watch anything. And so, we got to ease him off very slowly so he could watch some TV. Some TV. That's not iPad. It's some TV. And he's only allowed to watch Bororo.
Bororo?
Because
He enjoys it still?
Because we got to ease him out.
He doesn't find it interesting anymore,
So he's
right?
like, I mean, he's like, I'll take this. I'll take this. Because he was always like busy watching Pokemon.
Oh.
And Pokemon was
My
too much.
My son is so into Pokemon
Is
these
he really?
days. Yeah.
My son is about to get off the Pokemon stage.
Oh.
We'll give you some cards.
Are you thinking of selling any Pokemon toys?
I'm not gonna sell it. I'm gonna give it to you.
Or books?
No, we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you for free. We'll give it to you for free.
Yeah.
We'll give it to
Thank
you for free. Seong, thank you as always for your issues. Not your personal issues. Don't send that to me with your husband and stuff. But have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Sending her out of the studios, take a listen to a song here from XOK with Overdose, 중독.